If you're trying to make a health and fitness business grow and you're kind of lost and wondering why more clients aren't finding you, or your health and fitness business is doing great, but you're still working only with clients one-on-one versus working with clients on a larger scale, either passively or actively, it's time you thought about creating a podcast as your side hustle. So why am I calling it a side hustle and not a main hustle? Well, you want to treat your podcast like you would any social media platform. Say you want to start a TikTok and build a following there. You're probably not going to quit your full-time job and dive headfirst on day one, right? Well, maybe you are. But the point is, a good side hustle is the one where you devote time to it outside of the hours you work to earn money. And a good side hustle is the one that is setting you up for one of these three things. Number one, developing your skills. 2, boosting your personal or professional brand, or both. Or 3, making money. And the unicorn of side hustles, the one that helps you achieve all 3 of these things quickly and more efficiently than you think, is podcasting. Let's get into it. Thank you for joining me today. I'm Jamie Kennedy, executive podcast producer at Brave Moon Podcasts. We've produced podcasts for Virgin Active Health Clubs, Functional Training Institute, well-being coaches and speakers, and many more. I'm including all of the insider secrets I've learned along the way being a podcast producer for some of the top health and fitness brands on the charts today. So whether you're a small business owner, health and fitness professional, or a wellness enthusiast looking to boost your brand through podcasting, this podcast is for you. For a comprehensive list of the equipment and software my clients use, head to my website and grab my free Start a Podcast guide. I've condensed months of research into this guide, offering you the industry's best choices. Download it today. The link is in the show notes. In 2017, I quit my full-time career. Admittedly, I was burnt out and tired of the role I was in. I really did have to let it go for a lot of reasons. I tried to give myself time to rest, but I ended up just running headfirst into my first side hustle turned main hustle really quickly. Graphic design and trying to be an Instagram influencer. Lol. I'll cut to the end. Neither of these panned out for me, but here's what I learned. When I think back on that day job, it gave me structure and purpose. I got to see coworkers regularly and also got to travel for work. There were a lot of benefits, literally, to having this job. If I could go back, I can see a different path where I could have started a side hustle in my non-working hours and see where that took me instead. That said, if I had stayed with my job, we probably wouldn't have spent the last 7 years living in Australia. So I can't and won't regret decisions that I've made. Can you relate? Yes, you can see a different path that your life could have gone down, but ultimately, it wouldn't have led you to where you are today. And so we can't look back on our life and regret, right? I think if I'm being honest with myself, staying with my full-time money-making job would have made me more excited for the side hustle, and I wouldn't have put so much pressure on myself to make money from the get-go. Instead, I could have focused on building my skills and boosting my personal and professional brand without so much pressure of trying to earn money. Which brings me to today's topic, which is the side hustle. Now, since you're a health and fitness professional, there's a chance you're already grinding it out in the entrepreneurial land. And so you're battling daily to bring on the right clients at the right time. Believe me, I get it. In fact, if you haven't guessed it, that's what I do at Brave Moon Podcasts. I'm dancing in entrepreneurial land, or tripping or skipping or falling, doing my best to work with my dream clients, doing exactly what I love, producing podcasts. So whether you're getting handed a paycheck monthly or you're invoicing clients individually, the truth is that a side hustle is a beautiful way to hone in on your passions and skill set and see where it can possibly take you. So why does a podcast work so well as a side hustle in the health and fitness industry? There are several reasons. One, there's a super low barrier to entry. Starting a podcast requires relatively minimal investment compared to other businesses. All you need is a microphone, recording equipment, and access to a platform to host your podcast. This makes it accessible for individuals looking to start a side hustle without significant upfront costs. If you're unsure of the right setup for you, visit the Start a Podcast Guide link in my show notes so I can help you. Number 2, podcasting offers flexibility in terms of when and where you record episodes. This makes it ideal for individuals with busy schedules or full-time jobs who want to pursue a side hustle in the health and fitness industry without compromising their existing commitments. A perfect example of this, my husband and I are in the middle of moving back to the States permanently. And given that I don't know where I'm going to be, how I'm going to be able to record for the next few months, I've gone ahead and I've recorded these episodes earlier than I normally would. So what this means is that you're still getting valuable episodes exactly when you're expecting them. Meanwhile, while you're listening to this, I might be currently sweating up a storm, moving a couch, breaking down a bed frame, or something in order for us to be able to make this big move and transition back to living in the United States more permanently. Number 3, your passion and expertise fits the podcasting format perfectly. See, because something like 85% of podcast listeners tune in to educate themselves, and health and fitness podcasts are one of the top categories. Your knowledge and expertise is invaluable, and it's something that people are hungry for. The data proves that. Number 4, the health and fitness industry is continuously growing with increasing demand for information and advice on topics such as nutrition, exercise, mental wellness, and lifestyle habits. A podcast provides a platform to address these needs and establish credibility within the industry. Number 5, call it a side hustle or not, a podcast in the health and fitness niche can start to generate revenue through various monetization strategies, such as sponsorships, affiliate marketing, merchandise sales, premium content, and crowdfunding. And last but not least, number 6, it's community building at its finest. Podcasting allows hosts to connect with their audience on a deeper level and build a community around shared interests and goals. This engagement can lead to loyal listeners who are more likely to support the podcast and its endeavors. Now, I'm just going to address the elephant in the room. I often get told, but I don't have any free time in my day. Believe me, I get it. It's not that you don't have the time, it's that you don't have time to prioritize it. Before you give up, before you start, ask yourself, is there a way I can reprioritize my day so that I can make time for this side hustle? It might mean sacrificing some leisure activities or waking up an hour earlier in the morning. However, it's essential to recognize that the time spent on your side hustle is an investment in your future. By reprioritizing your schedule and carving out time for podcasting, you're taking proactive steps toward achieving your goals and building a fulfilling side-turned-main hustle. I know what you're thinking. Easier said than done, right? But I guess you could say I'm living proof it is possible. Here I am with a full plate of clients, taking up about 40 hours of my week. Oh, and not to mention a move across the world. And yet I purposely and without letting myself make excuses, make time for my podcast because I know how important this side hustle is for me. So if it helps, here's what I do to integrate podcasting into a pretty busy schedule and routine. First, I use a Trello board to keep track of all tasks required for each episode. You can actually use this exact template that I use. The link is in the show notes. In the Trello board, I set deadlines for myself to ensure that the episode is ready to go and scheduled before the live date. Second, I then build each task into my routine. I ideate topics on my morning walk with my pup Riggs. I write my script first thing in the morning after my Peloton cycling session and before my breakfast. I then write my show notes and email on the same day as my script so the thoughts are fresh in my mind. And I use ChatGPT to help me write them. I record my interviews or solo episodes when my husband isn't home so I can make sure it's quiet around here. I also edit the episodes after dinner instead of turning on the TV sometimes. Don't worry, I still have plenty of TV nights. Also, I should mention, doing bi-weekly or twice monthly episodes is so much easier than doing a weekly episode. You do not need to do a weekly episode. Your podcast will grow on a bi-weekly basis just as well as a weekly podcast if the content is right. There's so many examples of this out there. In fact, most of my podcast clients do a bi-weekly episode, and you can too. By breaking down the podcasting process into manageable tasks and fitting them into your day, you can make significant progress without feeling overwhelmed by time constraints. Moreover, think about the activities in your daily schedule that might not be as productive or fulfilling. Are there any time-wasting habits or unnecessary commitments that you can eliminate or delegate? I know for some of you, daily laundry is a must, and I would never try to take that away from you. But can you ask yourself, is it really a must? Or is it a habit that I struggle breaking? Or how about TV watching? Because I'm a huge culprit of that. Is watching TV every night a must? Or is it a habit that I struggle breaking? If I broke the habit and I made time for a podcast instead of watching TV every night or doing the laundry every day or scrolling social media every day, I want to think about my future self in 5 years, and I want to ask myself, will I be more proud of myself for breaking that habit or less proud? And the truth is, I already know that if I broke that habit and I changed the habit to podcasting, I know that I would be more proud of myself. What do you think? By decluttering your schedule and focusing on activities that align with your priorities, you can create space for your side hustle while still attending to your other responsibilities. It's also essential to communicate your intentions and boundaries with those around you. This is so hard. I think the hardest thing we can ever learn in this life is to learn how to prioritize ourselves, especially when the people around you don't seem keen on you changing or evolving. Believe me, I get it. But if you know deep down in your heart that starting this side hustle is going to change your life for the better, then it's time to let everyone know you're ready to prioritize you just a little more. Let your friends, family, and colleagues know about your side hustle and the importance of dedicating time to it. By setting clear expectations and boundaries, you can minimize distractions and interruptions, allowing you to make the most of your time you've allocated for podcasting. So now the question becomes, what should your podcast be about? First and foremost, I want you to think about your dream client, aka your target audience. Who do you want to help the most? Now, since you're a health and fitness professional, you more than likely have a product or offering that targets your dream client already. That's not what your podcast should be about. Instead, think about the common struggles and problems your dream client faces and how you can educate them in order to improve their well-being. So what I mean is this. Let's say that you sell natural herbal teas. Your target audience is moms in the USA. Your podcast isn't going to be about natural herbal teas, meaning each episode isn't going to be dedicated to chamomile tea or lavender tea. Instead, you'd want to think of a podcast concept that speaks to moms in the USA. Perhaps it's a podcast centered around holistic wellness for busy moms. You could explore topics such as managing stress, cultivating self-care routines, promoting healthy family meals, fostering positive parent-child relationships, and creating a balanced lifestyle. Each episode could feature expert interviews, practical tips, and personal anecdotes aimed at empowering moms to prioritize their well-being amidst the demands of daily life. By framing your podcast around broader themes that resonate with your target audience, such as moms in the USA, you can attract listeners who share common interests and concerns. While your herbal tea business may not be the primary focus of every episode, you can subtly integrate it into discussions on natural remedies, relaxation techniques, and the importance of incorporating wellness practices into everyday routines. Furthermore, By positioning yourself as a trusted resource for holistic wellness, you can establish credibility and trust with your audience, which can ultimately benefit your herbal tea business. Listeners who resonate with your podcast content are more likely to explore your products and services, viewing them as solutions to their health and wellness needs. In essence, the key is to create a podcast concept that aligns with the interests and needs of your target audience while subtly incorporating elements that promote your business. For my 5 hacks, I'm going to explore 5 podcast concept ideas for each type of health and fitness professional. Listen for the one that relates to you best or gives you a new idea. Hack number 1, for a personal trainer fitness coach. Your podcast concept? Fit Moms Club, for busy moms in the USA who are looking to prioritize their health and fitness despite the demands of motherhood. This podcast would provide practical workout routines, nutrition tips, and motivational content tailored to the needs and challenges faced by moms. Hack number 2, for a nutritionist or dietitian. Your podcast concept? Nutrition Navigators, for young professionals in urban areas who are seeking evidence-based nutrition advice and guidance to navigate the complexities of modern diets. This podcast would explore topics such as meal planning, label reading, and debunking common nutrition myths to empower modern listeners to make informed food choices. Hack number 3, for the yoga instructor or mindfulness coach. Your podcast concept? Mindful Moments for Busy Professionals. For stressed out professionals in high-pressure environments who are seeking practical strategies to incorporate mindfulness and yoga into their busy schedules. This podcast would offer short, guided meditation sessions, yoga practices, and mindfulness exercises to promote relaxation and mental well-being. Hack number 4, physical therapist or rehab specialists. Your podcast concept? Recover Strong, for individuals recovering from sports injuries, surgeries, or chronic pain conditions who are looking for guidance and support throughout the rehabilitation process. This podcast would provide expert advice, exercises, and success stories to inspire listeners on their journey to recovery. Hack number 5, for the mental health counselor or therapist. Your podcast concept: Mind Matters, Mental Wellness for Teens, for teenagers and young adults who are navigating the challenges of adolescence and seeking support for their mental health and well-being. This podcast would address topics such as stress management, self-esteem, relationships, and coping skills to help young listeners build resilience and thrive during their formative years. If you didn't hear your profession, reach out to me. Send me a message on Instagram and I'll send you a concept idea in your specific profession with your target audience in mind. I promise. Thank you again so much for joining me on your podcasting journey. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you enjoyed this episode, please leave a 5-star review. It helps people like you find this podcast as well. Until the next episode, keep those conversations flowing and keep being the amazing powerhouse that you are. And as always, remember that consistency, authenticity, and promoting your podcast are key to your success. Happy podcasting.